show, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. Oh, it's the morning after the win, and I've had a lot of coffee, so this should be fun. Oh, you know what? It's always a good Monday morning when you get a win as a Giant fan, especially these last 3 years. I laughed though because someone sent me a email last night after I posted my video that the Giants squeaked by Washington on a big play by Logan Ryan, and the the email was, "You're the only channel or person I know who could get a thumbs down on a video when a Giants win a game." Well, you know what? I'm just that special kind of guy. Oh, but you know what? We have to be happy with the win. We have to be unhappy at 2-7. There was a lot of good stuff in the game. There was a lot of bad stuff in the game. The problem is you get 5 turnovers and you really only get 10 points off those 5 turnovers. And I know 2 of the interceptions came at the end of the game. I completely understand that. But again, you get 5 turnovers and you only score a total of 23 points. There's a slight issue there offensively. You score 20 points in the first 2 quarters. You score 3 in the second. The last time we had a 17-point lead going into halftime was against Washington last year. And the last time we rushed for over 100 yards and a half was against Washington last year. Are we seeing a pattern here? And I said it before. Can we have every other team in the NFC East drop their names? Not their last name, drop their names. So we'll just play Philadelphia. We'll just play Dallas. I mean, it'll be great because that seems like the only time we win is when we beat teams that do not have a name. I mean, our defense, and I've said this before, we have a top 10 defense. We do. There's no doubt about it. But we have defensive breakdowns. And sometimes the play calling on defense is a little perplexing. We go into this soft shell zone at times, which I just don't get because quarterbacks, even average ones like Nick Mullins, picks it apart. And then, and that's when we seem to get ourselves in trouble. When we go man to man and blitz, we seem to be okay. But we go into this soft shell zone. It's just like I don't know. I don't understand. And we do this sporadically in the game. We'll be playing awesome, then we'll switch to the zone. And then all of a sudden the team comes back and scores 17 unanswered points in the second half. And so I think we just need to look at that. I mean, we have the defensive personnel to make an impact. And yesterday was finally showed how we can get to the quarterback. We only had 2 sacks, I know, but we did get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And how we can potentially get some interceptions. I mean, yes, the Blake Martinez interception was just because the guy fell down. The Logan Ryan one was because of the pressure, which was fantastic. And Peppers just made a good play. Peppers had a good game. And like I said, what boggles my mind about Peppers is he has these moments where he's spectacular. Then he has these moments where he's average. And I was seeing a couple places in Washington, they said that the Peppers play against Kyle Allen was a dirty play. He didn't leg whip him he did leg whip him, but he did not leg whip him intentionally. It was not a dirty or malicious play. He just kind of, momentum carried him with his legs around. So it was not a dirty play. It really wasn't. I mean, so I think people have to look past that. But like I said, Peppers, he frustrates you. He shows you these moments of brilliance, and then he makes these bonehead mistakes and misses tackles and does other things. But you know what? If he could ever put it together for a full 16-week season, I mean, he would be a Pro Bowler. He really would be. And there's not much else you could say about Blake Martinez. Blake Martinez is everything that we paid for him. We should actually pay. We should probably just write Blake Martinez another check because we owe him some more money. And I may owe Leonard Williams an apology at the end of the season. I doubt that's going to happen. But he's leading the team with, 5 sacks? So, I mean, he's made his presence felt on this line. Sheard looked good. I was very excited about the Sheard pickup. He looked good. Austin Johnson was not in the game much, which I'd like to have seen him in there some more. The weakness on this defense has always been and still is the CB2 position. I know Isaac Yiadom came in for Ryan Lewis of the injury, but you know he's just not the answer. I mean, he is. If there was ever a question, he would never be the answer to the question. I mean, he wouldn't even be the answer to the question if it was, is your name Isaac Yiadom? He should just say no. I mean, sincerely, he should just say no. My name is not Isaac Yiadom. I think he would still get that question wrong. But like I said, for all the wonders on the defense, it's the offense that still is perplexing. Jason Garrett, I liked Jason Garrett hire. I still do. He is working with the talent he has. And that's what we need to focus. Daniel Jones, yes, did not have a turnover. But you know what? And like I said, I laughed because the announcer, when he got sacked with 2 minutes left, he basically said the biggest play of the game is Daniel Jones didn't fumble on the sack. I mean, if that's the highlight of your quarterback, I mean, you can't throw the ball 34 times for only 212 yards. You gotta be. In some ways, he's gone polar opposite. He's went from looking downfield to checking down constantly. And I love it because Eli Manning had these same types of stats towards the end of his career and everyone complained about him. Daniel Jones has it. I go, oh, Daniel Jones had such a great game. I mean, that just cracks me up. I'm still not seeing the it factor in Daniel Jones. When you put the rush in front of him, and I said this 4 weeks ago, and it seems like the NFL must have been listening. When you put the rush in front of Daniel Jones, put it directly up the middle, it limits his ability to run, and it limits his ability to throw the ball deep downfield. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. That's all you have to do. And then you try to loop an edge around. You could try to collapse the pocket, and he's gonna fold like a cheap tent. That's what he's done the last couple of weeks. And it's something that I don't know if it's an issue with Nick Gates or whatever, but the NFL has figured out put the rush in the middle of Daniel Jones. He carried the ball 6 times for 3 yards. He had 2 plays that were designed runs, and they went from nothing. Now the one was on the 3rd and 25 when he went up the middle, because that was just to hold on to the ball and get some space. But he had another run, which again was a designed run, and the defense didn't fall for it. And I've said this before, and I've said this a million times. Once NFL defenses get film on something, they are going to turn around and exploit that. And what you think is a strength is going to be a weakness. And I've said this a million times. I have worked and broke down films for 2 NFL franchises. So I understand this. And I love it because people go to me, well, you seem to always be right about things. Yeah, I catch a lot of stuff from people. I'm trying not to curse as much. I catch a lot of stuff from people. And then like a couple weeks later, they go, well, you might be right. Why? Because I actually look and break down the film. And you can see it. Put the rush right in Daniel Jones's face, and that's going to cause him an issue. I still can't believe Sterling Shepard, like I said, I thought Sterling Shepard was going to have a bigger game for some reason. Yeah, he did have 6 catches for 39 yards, but again, at 6.5. Austin Mack looked good. I would like to see these guys that look good against the team not named Washington. Because, Mr. Irrelevant's last big game until he pulled his hamstring was against Washington. That was his only big game. So let's play and so teams outside of Washington. And I think I'd be happier because, like I said, I was not impressed by the offensive performance. I think it was fantastic that Daniel Jones did not fumble or did not throw interception. And I love when people go, well, you don't like Daniel Jones because you're a Daniel Jones hater. I don't hate Daniel Jones. And I've said this a million times. I don't blame Daniel Jones before being taken 6th overall by the Giants. He was a second-round talent. I still think he's a second-round talent. It's not his fault Dave Gettleman or other people in the organization overshot on his value. That's fine. That happens in the NFL. How many times have the Raiders reached for guys? The Giants have reached for a couple guys, too, in the last couple years. So it's not, it's not a big deal. I am extremely impressed, though, by the line play of Shane Lemieux, and of course, Andrew Thomas. We did give up 5 sacks today, but a couple of those were coverage sacks because I do believe that they have the number 1 defensive against the pass of Washington. And plus, they got the 4 first-rounders on the line. But like I said, they played well. They actually moved the pile. They created space and holes for Morris and Wayne Gallman. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen when Will Hernandez comes back, because they always say in the NFL you do not lose your spot or your starting spot because of an injury. And to me, COVID is not an injury, but it's still, you still lost your spot because of circumstances beyond your control. So will they allow Will Hernandez to come back? And if they do allow Will Hernandez to come back, will Andrew Thomas start regressing back to the Andrew Thomas we saw before? Some people asked why Matt played for Thomas on some plays towards the end of the game. I think Andrew was just taking a breather because he was only out for like 2-3 plays, and then he was back in again. But like I said, the line, I think it was great that Nick Gates didn't have a penalty, but I do think the line can be solidified, and I think the start of Thomas, Lemieux, and Gates is a good foundation to this line. And who knows what Matt can accomplish. And I love it because I've said this before. If Dave Gettleman has found 4 out of the 5 starters on the offensive line and has built a top 10 defense and drafted Saquon Barkley and your quarterback, can you really turn around and get rid of him next year because of the record of the head coach? If we had a veteran presence on this team, I said it before, we should be 5-4. Worst, we should be 5-4. I mean, so can you really do that to Dave Gettleman then? I mean, plus he brought in Bradbury and he brought in Blake. I think Dave is going to get another year if this keeps up. But like I said, our fundamental issue is still the offense. And like I said, we need to fundamentally figure out a way to make Daniel Jones a better quarterback. Because right now, and like I said, he's got Eli stats. And Eli stats were what everyone complained about when Eli was here. Daniel Jones has a game like this. It's like, oh, Daniel Jones has an awesome game. Eli had the same exact game. It'd be like, we got to get rid of him. He's a bum. So, I mean, like I said, we can't get too high because we beat Washington. But like I said, it is a moment to celebrate. You know what? I think Crash Davis said it best in Bull Durham. When he's like, "Can I live in the can I just have a moment?" And he told Nuke, "You know what? The moment's over." And that's what it is. The moment's over. It's time to get ready. It's time to it's time to just I don't know. It is just time to figure out the rest of this season when we're not playing a team named Washington. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, maybe subscribe, if you ring that bell, I think you know what it means.